follow your passion first. First. When I retired from the game, I sat there asking kind of all the wrong questions. What's the biggest industry I can get into? And it's all the wrong stuff. And you got to sit there and ask yourself, okay, what am I truly passionate about? What do I enjoy doing? And when you feel that way, honestly, you feel like you have never worked a day in your life. It's the most fun thing in the world. You get up in the morning excited about what you're doing. And you got to be really honest with yourself about it. If you wake up in the morning and you're dreading going to work, dude, do something else. Right. Do something else. And those are hard decisions to make. But when you make those decisions, it's a very liberating experience. And you find out that the rewards will come.
When I played, one of the things I had to learn is how to get the best out of my teammates.
Yeah.
And most people think it's a simple thing, passing the ball. But that's not how you make guys better. You have to really affect their behavior.
How do you do that?
So, I would tell guys, we got back-to-backs. I don't care if we're in Miami, I don't care if we're in the great city of Chicago. You can't go out, we got to get rest. Right?
Back-to-back games.
Back-to-back games,
yeah.
Right? Monday, Tuesday. You play Monday and you play again Tuesday. But guys aren't going to listen, right?
Right.
So a few times I say, all right, we'll all go out. We'll go out together.
Really?
I'll drink with you, right? But the next morning, I'm banging on your door at 5 a.m. Let's go.
They're not getting
Where are we going? I hung out with you. Now you come hang out with me.
Wow.
This is what we do. All right, let's go. And we're at the gym. We're working out. Right. We hit the bus. We go to practice. We play that night.
And they're dead.
And they're dead. And they're like, oh, lesson learned.
Really?
Lesson learned.
Take them out once.
Listen, if you're gonna do that. But don't let that compromise what we're here to do.
Right.
This is why we're here. This is why you're here in the first place.
Yeah.
Right.
And if we're gonna win a championship, we have to have that championship mentality and work ethic.
That's it. So you got to show them, no, Kobe can do that and still has the energy to get up and do this. So either I got to meet that same energy or I got to keep my butt in my room.
Go to bed early, yeah.
Or to go play someplace else to try to chase a championship. That's not me, man. That's not what my career has been about. We all can be masters at our craft, but you have to make sacrifices that come along with making that decision. You start with, what do you want your game to be? What would make your game most unstoppable? My philosophy was a very simple one. And this is where I think film plays a big part of my life. Rudy was one of my favorite films growing up. After watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, and do that for 20 years, what do you have? Here's why practice was important to me. Not from just the standpoint that I enjoyed playing. I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed getting better. But as a leader of a team, it's also your responsibility to elevate the rest of the guys. And what people tend to get stuck on a lot is saying, okay, the way to make players better is to pass them the ball when they're open. That's a very trivial way to look at things. What you have to do is you have to get them emotionally to want to be better. You have to get them to an emotional space where they wake up every morning driven to be the best version of themselves, right? And how do you do that? And in practice, for me, it was a chance to drive them, to challenge them, right? And this is where you have to know your teammates. Because if it's late, we just had a back-to-back and we had practice the next day and you show up and guys don't feel like going through the motions, don't feel like practicing, it's important to know each and every one of them individually, personally, because then you know what nerve to touch. Some guys, it's like, okay, come on, let's, we can do this. That'll get them going. Other guys, no. You got to figure out what button to push. Powell was always Spain. If I tell them how they lost in a gold medal to us and how they're going to lose again, how I'm going to beat your ass in practice just like I beat you in a gold medal game, he would hate that. He'd hate that. But that's what practice was. You have to drive them. You absolutely have to. And if practice is more intense and harder than a Game 7 will be, then a Game 7 will be easy. But if it's not, then that's when teams start folding and capitulating.
And once you have the passion, the thing that you're passionate about now, you can look at other people or other entities or other things or works of art, and you can draw things from that to help you be better at what you do by looking for those common denominators. Johnny wanted to know, how do I prepare? How do I prepare? How do I study? How do I view the game? How do you build your game? And my response is much like the way he builds products. You think sequentially. You look at this, the end result of what you want to create, but in order to create that, there's so many other little things that go into this massive entity or device. And it's no different than building my basketball game. You start with, what do you want your game to be? What would make your game most unstoppable or hard to deal with? And now you work backwards from there. And you start building it one piece at a time, one move at a time, one counter at a time. So there's a lot of similarities there. If you get up at 10 in the morning, train at 11, right? 12, say 12, train at 12, train for 2 hours, 12 to 2. You have to let your body recover. So you eat, recover, whatever. You get back out, you train, start training again at 6. Train from 6 to 8, right? And now you go home, you shower, you eat dinner, you go to bed, you wake up, you do it again, right? Those are 2 sessions. Right now, imagine you wake up at 3, you train at 4. You go 4 to 6, come home, breakfast, relax, blah, blah, blah. Now you're back at it again, 9 to 11, right? You relax, and now all of a sudden you're back at it again, 2 to 4, and now you're back at it again, 7 to 9. Look how much more training I have done by simply starting at 4, right? And so now you do that, and as the years go on, the separation that you have with your competitors and your peers just grows larger and larger and larger and larger and larger. And by year 5 or 6, doesn't matter what kind of work they do in the summer, they're never going to catch up because they're 5 years behind, right? So it makes sense to get up and start your day early because you can get more work in.
Is that genetic? Or is that something you ingrained and trained yourself?
No, it was
Who
just,
taught you that?
For me, it was just common sense. Like I can if I start earlier, I can train more hours, and I know the other guys aren't doing it because I know what their training schedule is, right? So I know if I do this consistently over time, the gap's just going to widen and widen and widen and widen and widen, and they won't be able to get that back. Mm-hmm. So to me, it was just common sense and like thinking, how can I get an advantage? Oh, start earlier. Yeah, let's do that.
How do you develop that, or where do you learn that from?
Well, I think it's just it's just a matter of what's important to you, mm-hmm. and what's important to you for whatever reason. I felt like I didn't feel good about myself if I wasn't doing everything I could to be the best version of myself. Mm-hmm. If I felt like I left anything on the table, it would eat away at me. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. Right, so the reason why I can retire now and be completely comfortable about it because I know that I've done everything I could to be the best basketball player I could be. Mm-hmm. And so that's where it comes from for me. You can't leave any stone unturned. But I understand that's actually part of the process of succeeding. I'm not one that really believe in failure. I believe you have setbacks. And, you have to learn from those. You have to learn what are those landmines that can be avoided the next time. What are those pitfalls? And you have to learn from that stuff. And so, I welcome those things. It's a part of life. The passion came from the love for the game. I loved everything about it, like the smell of the ball.
You love the smell of the ball?
Yes, the ball. The smell of like brand new sneakers and like the sound the ball makes when it hits the ground. Ball going through the net, like all those things I love. And so the passion comes from that because once you have that love, you just want to be a part of this thing all the time. The game is just a part of me, so it never leaves. Even now that I'm retired, everything that I've learned from the game of basketball, I've carried it over into life. Mm-hmm. Like basketball has helped me be a better person, a better friend, a better father. Well, because there's life lessons that are within the game, mm-hmm. like communication, like unselfishness, like attention to detail, and empathy and compassion. Like all those things are in the game. And as an athlete, if we are aware of those things, mm-hmm. It helps us become better human human beings. Even while I was playing, just in life outside of the game, and even more so now, in building a business and all these things, the kind of culture you want to have, all those things are directly learned from the game of basketball for me.